please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's log, subdates 230131.7. All I want is to use the Spoon's rail rifle tech to assassinate the head of Subfleet. They want me to backtrack on No Lives Matter. Quite frankly, they are asking too much of me. Hello everyone, welcome to This Week at a Lazier Version Twitter, or Twat. As I'm away, I'm having to do a more reduced version before I disappear. Now to start the video, we're going to begin with Americans Ruin Everything. And if this records properly...
Start by taking 1 can of Coke and 1 can of Sprite and pour that into a deep dish pie crust. We're gonna add 1 cup of sugar in our Coca-Cola pie. Now we're gonna take some flour. This is about 4 tablespoons to give it a little bit more flavor. Let's add some lemon zest to our, and they're still gonna be a little bit liquidy here. So we want them to cool down. Okay, our pies have cooled for about 1 hour, so now we're gonna take off the tin foil and see what we've got underneath.
This was shared to Twitter by Lance, who tweeted, "I swear some people should be banned from cooking. I 100% agree. This is blasphemy. No, I'm not going to scream it on the microphone with some growly voice.
I will do that next time."
So instead, let's go to some audience participation. First, Dizzy D, who retweeted CD, who said, 10 games to know me, and then some fire emoji, with 10 games listed underneath. Dizzy D replied with Final Fantasy, Tekken, and some other stuff. I considered retweeting this with my list of games, but most of it's on the Switch because console peasant, so XCOM because strategy games are fun, simulator games because I play those on Twitch, link in the link tree down below. Seriously, I even have a steering wheel and a side panel and a gearbox, oh my! Or the game would be something RPG based. Assassin's Creed, Grand Theft Auto, sure. No Final Fantasy for me, I'm afraid. I've only played 1, and that was 10. It's not in Dizzy D's list, so clearly I'm not cool enough. But I would like to know what your 10 games to know you are. Mostly to drive up my engagement, but also I'm kind of curious to see what people write. The second piece of audience participation is a retweet from Coffee Anytime shared by Stargazer. Hi Stargazer. There is a building on fire, you can save only 2. You have mostly American politicians, a puppy, and Pennywise. I choose the puppy and Pennywise. Why? Because puppies are cool. And Pennywise can help me deal with the problem of there being children around here. Children to be seen and not heard. Pennywise will render both of those obsolete. I'm alright with this. You can consider Pennywise the hero the world deserves and needs. So while this random block of the week, because we're moving on, does not actually impact me, because I've not been blocked by somebody, someone else who we've covered and got ourselves re-blocked by them has gone on a block spree, in the form of Dead Channel Noodles. Never have I seen someone crash so hard, so far and so fast, and fallen so well and truly to the bottom, that I cannot see them ever getting back up there again. How arrogant are you? So Anne with an E, I have questions. Why has someone I've never heard of blocked me? 2, what is a deaf noodle? 3, why should I care? To answer the first question, I think you're blocked because of a block bot. Oddly enough. Now this is actually a retweet of Kristen, who said, wait what, seriously, lol, okay, who was also blocked by Deaf Noodles. 2, what is a deaf noodle? A deaf noodle is a snowflake. That's what it is. And 3, why should I care? You shouldn't. It's amusing really because at one point, Deaf Noodles was at the higher echelon for commentary news sources. He was there. It cannot be denied. No history revisionism. He was up there. He crashed his own channel. Why? Because he refused to listen. That is a fundamental part of being a commentary YouTuber. If you cannot listen and learn, then you will go only so far. For Deaf Noodles, that got him to over 500,000 subs. The man was on the way up. He could have stayed there for a few more years before he decided to change and be more like himself. In doing so, alienating 99.9% of his own audience who all sodded off. In doing so, he just added more profanity because that's all it was. He was less loud but more obnoxious, less patient, more reactionary. Before he'd be reactionary but he'd sit and just watch videos. and commentate a few quips here and there, mildly funny for a while, and I won't deny, I found him entertaining at first. But as is often the case with creators like Def Noodles, when they crash, they still refuse to listen to you. And that's a shame because bear in mind here, he would have been making really good money as a YouTuber up there when he had the numbers. Now though, I think he's going to need a job soon, okay? So next I want to talk about the cult of Dusty, somebody I have followed for a long time since the days of atheism. Dusty has had a bit of an issue of late with YouTube, in the sense that Dusty got a strike, waited the strike out, removed the offensive content, and still got punished for it even further than he should have been. He's been on the platform for 14 years. He's gone through ups and downs and ups, rebuilding, rebranding, trying new things out. And while I'm certain there are some who will hold him in low regard, my view on having channels is fundamentally never going to change. Dusty has a right to be on the platform and a right to build a platform on sites like YouTube where Dusty can get his message out. So I'm going to go through a few tweets in order so you can get some context. On the 20th of January, reminder no show tonight, The Greatest Show returns to doing full-time shows on YouTube this coming Tuesday, January the 24th. There's a reason for that, and that's because of the strike that had banned Dusty from making any content. On the 24th of January, apparently my channel has just been deleted from YouTube. An hour later, I don't know what I'm going to do, 14 years of work gone. Tweeting after. I've been a full-time YouTuber for 14 years. Due to mass false flags, I privated all my videos until one of my strikes expired and my account will be safe. Today I set my videos back to public and your system immediately removed my channel completely. With Team YouTube replying, looks like you haven't appealed yet. To get that going, you can fill out the appeal form. Dusty replies, I did appeal, and got an email saying my appeal did not go through because the email I used for that channel is not associated with any channel. A minor clerical error on Dusty's part, I will admit, but I can understand the frustration, especially if your account's been yeeted, chances are you don't have access to that account. On the 26th of January, Dusty tweeted a quick look at my email this morning, where copyright claims were for everything. Everything. I get fair use can be abused by some creators, I'm sure Dusty is no exception to this, but that is an absolute piss take. Considering the time gap between all of them, somebody had to have been going through every single one to find something to claim. That is embarrassing. At time of recording, Dusty's main channel is still there. Whether the issue has been resolved or not, I'm not entirely sure, but Dusty does have another channel called The Dusty Smith Show, and I'm going to link both of them in the pinned comment. One last tweet of interest though, on the 25th, so back a day. I want to thank everyone for the kind words and support. I'm understandably a bit down by all of this, but I will definitely figure out how to move past this and keep the show going. They will never shut me up, we are just getting started. I hope you succeed, Mr. Smith. As a fellow creator, I don't want you to be yeeted. Even if we disagree on something, it means nothing. I would rather you be on the platform so you can get your voice out there, and this is also something you enjoy doing. Granted, you've been known to sod off from time to time. Yes, you've been very honest about that. But I still remember watching you with a VR headset playing video games like an absolute boomer. And it was hilarious. So next, as we're such big fans of Prince Harry, his book, Spare, is out. And one of the best displays of it is this one. As you can see, his book positioned in a diamond shape, but the triangle around it, or around one of them, How to Kill Your Family. I mean, you don't need that book if you've got Spare, right? That's the point, is it not? Isn't that the point? Or is it just to cash in? Because I seem to feel like the latter is the more obvious motivator, when the intention seems to come across as the former. Moving on, Matt Walsh got a fair amount of criticism. Why? Because he had tweeted a retweet, first of all, of Gateway Pundit, who had said, update, gruesome details released by gay activist couples' crimes on their adopted sons. It gets dark. I am not going through that. Matt Walsh's retweet, I would never let a man who is not a blood relative babysit my kids. Most parents wouldn't, and yet we let male couples adopt children and then act surprised when this happens. It's not surprising, horrific, infuriating, gut-wrenchingly disgusting and evil, but not surprising. People will pretend to be outraged by what I said here, but please note that almost none of them, if they are parents, have ever or would ever hire a man to come watch their kids while they go out for a date night. As some have pointed out, a very close family friend can of course be an exception. That essentially counts as family. The point is that when it comes to hiring someone who is basically a stranger to watch your kids, almost every parent will choose a woman. Now this is quite a long discussion, certainly with the original tweet that I can't go into because of YouTube. And what this tweet does is show how backward many people still are. in the sense that many will only go for a female because they're the caregiver and they're the more trustworthy. That is a tad backdated. Times are changing and so are people. Isolated incidents are not indicative of a trend. If we're going to go with that, then perhaps we should look at the more emotional, mental, manipulative behavior of female parents, and of course friends and relatives and those you hire to be nannies. Some stats are quite alarming, and because of the way Twitter is, surely even Matt Walsh himself must have realised he was going to get absolute hell for how he phrased what he phrased in 3 tweets, something that really required, well, I'll be honest, a whole bloody video, going through the entire position rather than using shorter, concise points. Says the guy who unironically does a video series called This Week at Twitter, where he himself uses shorter language to get a point across. So to finish, we're going to go with something I saw via Undoomed, who had replied to a video with "What the f is happening?" The first tweet is "We are doomed ... with a 43-second video. I have no earthly idea what the original context of this video is, other than it is from Arthur Morgan. That's all I know. But if you go to the Arthur Morgan version, underneath someone had actually shared 2 videos from the European Parliament in 2022. I'm going to play all 3 so you can get the context of why people might think some of these politics, events, circle jerks, yeah, are a crock of absolute shite.
Jedna minuta okrzyku dla wszystkich na rzecz rewolucji.
Redresse-toi, fais quelques pas. Tu es face à un rideau de lierre. Avec une main, écarte le rideau.